I'm completely spiritually uneducated.
Here, Jaggi is saying that he is spiritually uneducated, which is a fact.
I don't know from where I have quoted. I have not quoted generally, except the grandmother Gita that's around us. I have to admit that I have neither read the Gita, nor the Vedas, nor the Upanishads, nor even the Yoga Sutra. I've never studied anything.
Jaggi is saying publicly that he neither read the Gita, nor the Veda, nor the Upanishads, not even the Yoga Sutra, which means Jaggi does not have the foundational learning of Tantra.
I don't know what kind of puja you're talking about. I am not the puja kind, so I wouldn't make a very sweeping comment on that.
Jaggi publicly tells to the youth that he is not the puja kind, he does not do puja.
I am not the puja kind, I can't defend that because I don't do it myself. I must admit now, in my entire life, never once in my life have I ever prayed. No need for any ritual. I have no need for any ritual in my life.
Jaggi promises that there is no need for any rituals in his life.
That's the way I am, that's the only thing I know, which is 100% energy work. No other things, no mantras, no tantras, no nothing. It's 100% energy work.
Jaggi does not realize that Tantra is a ritualizations. And when Jaggi says, I don't need any ritual or puja, he clearly tells the world that he has never been educated as a Tantric.
I have never studied any spirituality, if you don't believe this. I've never made a study of anything. I've not studied with anybody. But anything concerned with human consciousness, I'm crystal clear about everything. Everything that I know, I don't know.
To understand the connections of the puja or the ritualization, one has to be educated and trained in the science of Tantra. Here Jaggi not only does not know that puja or ritualizations refer to the consecration of divinities or the science of Tantra. Therefore he makes the following comments.
No other things, no mantras, no tantras, no nothing. It's 100% energy work.
Again, Jaggi is attesting to the world that he does not know Tantra or mantra. In fact, Tantra and mantra are aspects of the same science.
I can just transform life from one dimension to another simply on the basis of energy.
Jaggi has a colonial mindset and he cannot understand rituals. Jaggi only has an understanding of rituals from the colonial mindset. This complicates Jaggi further because his education is only English literature, as he says. Jaggi has no science education.
So I just went for literature, then I made a deal with all the teachers that they'll give me attendance, that was my only concern. So once a month I went to college just to check if they're keeping their part of the deal.
I'm completely spiritually uneducated. I don't know from where I have quoted. I have not quoted generally, except the grandmother Gita that's around us. I have to admit that I have neither read the Gita, nor the Vedas, nor the Upanishads, nor even the Yoga Sutra. I've never studied anything. The most profound literature that I read, I read English literature just for fun because I like the language. Otherwise, the most profound stuff that I read is asterisks.
Is what?
Asterisk.
I don't know any chantings, I don't know any rituals, I don't know anything. Without any ritual, simply, just switching the energy from one dimension to another.
This is a complete superficial understanding of the science of Tantra, which is common to conventional India. Here you can see that Jagi is believing in his superficial pulp fiction enlightenment from the works of the Theosophical Society of the Colonial times. And Jagi has no comprehension of Tantra.
We have certain beliefs that we should do Satyanarayana Puja every year, or Vastu Puja or Vastu Shanti before you shifting to a new house.
Okay.
At least in Maharashtrians we have that kind of tradition. Gruha Shanti.
Okay. Now, for all the… It doesn't matter how many Satyanarayana pujas that you do, for the untruth that you're generating with your day-to-day living, no Satyanarayana puja can save you.
Since Jagi only has a post-colonial common man's idea of Tantra, he cannot cope with the questioner asking about the ritual offerings called Satyanarayana Puja. A common person in India today understands this Satyanarayana Puja as the house-warming party because they lost the knowledge of Tantra a while ago.
For the untruth that you're generating with your day-to-day living, no Satyanarayana puja can save you.
I'm completely spiritually uneducated.
When Jagi has no education on all these topics, how does he say this? How can Jagi have an opinion on these specialized studies of Tantra?
For the untruth that you're generating with your day-to-day living, no Satyanarayana puja can save you.
The untruth that Jagi is talking about is reflected on himself. Jagi has no education in the science of Tantra, and yet he attempts to present himself as a Tantric master. This is the untruth that Jagi carries everywhere. Many years ago, Palani Swami or Bhagavan Shanmukha told Jagi to study and not to be impatient. But Jagi gave in to his impatience and didn't study the Tantra seriously. This is why Jagi says, "No Tantra, no mantra," in the following clip.
That's the way I am, that's the only thing I know, which is 100% energy work. No other things, no mantras, no tantras, no nothing. It's 100% energy work.
In the next clip, you will see an entire concoction of false rituals by Jagi. In this video clip, one can see Jagi is confusing himself with mythology and reality. The biblical story of Eve and the snake, or Shiva and his snakes that are all over his body, or Krishna as a toddler winning over the snake, or as a young man trampling on the heads of Kaliya the snake. To impress the crowd that he is an enlightened one, Jagi is seen playing with a snake. Sadly enough, even Paramahamsa Ramakrishna was playing with a snake as a toddler. Not understanding the meaning of snakes in the Vedas or the Puranas, and wanting to impress their innocent audience of their supernatural powers, these guys are prancing around with snakes. But upon really studying Tantra, you will know that snake has nothing to do with the ritualization. Authentic gurus like Dalai Lama or Srila Prabhupada or Shankaracharyas or Palani Swami, who is Bhagavan Shanmukha, a Tantric scholar and a practitioner, don't pretend to be enlightened and don't enact the mythological presentation of the Puranas. Because Palani Swami or Bhagavan Shanmukha understands that Puranas are read differently. To understand the Puranas, one must know the Vedas.
I'm completely spiritually uneducated. I have to admit that I have neither read the Gita, nor the Vedas, nor the Upanishads, nor even the Yoga Sutra. I've never studied anything. The most profound literature that I read, I read English literature just for fun because I like the language. Otherwise, the most profound stuff that I read is asterisks.
Is what?
Asterisk.
So, this I business and all, you reading bits and pieces of Vedanta, please stop that. I had to admit that I have not read the Gita.
If you can make this flesh, or even a stone, or even an empty space, into a divine possibility, that is called consecration. If you want to know this dimension, you need devotion in your heart.
No one in India who has any understanding of the spiritual science or culture, let alone a tantric, places his feet over the ritual offering called fire or Agni. Agni to the Veda or Tantra is very sacred.
One who earns the grace of Bhairavi neither have to live in concern or fear of life or death, of poverty or failure. All that human being considers as well-being will be his if only he earns the grace of Bhairavi.
This Bhairavi drama that Jagi puts up has nothing to do with the authentic tantric rituals at all. Jagi himself admits that he does not know any tantra, any mantra in the clips that we saw earlier. And we also know that Jagi does not know any tantra, any mantra. The mantras are written like a computer code system, and they are precise, and they are not to be haphazardly written, because it will not make any sense. It will be like computer viruses and bugs in the system.
I was asked to lie down in Shavasana. It was like a 1000-watt electricity just passing through me.
Because Jagi and his followers don't understand anything valid, as they are not educated in the Tantra science, they basically are trying to impress the innocent audience. Here you can see this woman is made to claim that she felt like it was 1000-volt electricity passing through her.
Just as an experiment, we set up one body, set up this body like an invitation, and they didn't even hesitate for a moment, they were on. When this was set up, and when these beings entered, they're in bunches, they're not individual. When they entered the system, I thought, let me restrain them for some time and see.
Nobody in the right mind in India will put his foot over any sacred object. No tantric will ever place his feet on the private region of a woman. Because in the tantric science and the spiritual culture of India, fire or Agni or private part of a woman are considered to be sacred. It will be sacrilegious for Indians to even show their feet towards the direction of the sacred objects, or woman, let alone the yoni, which is understood to be the doorway to the sacred dimension.
Namaskaram, Sadhguru. Why do we not place our feet towards lingas or other consecrated objects, or even people for that matter? Is it simply a matter of respect, or is there a scientific basis for this?
I'm asking you, is it good to shit? Hello, I'm asking you a question. Yes. but it must come out of a certain part of your body. If it comes out from elsewhere, it will become terrible, isn't it? Hello?
Sadhguru has no tantric learning, so he cannot answer this question. When you don't understand the science, you do really absurd things. Here, the man is trying to prove to his fellow companions that he is so overwhelmed by his guru and he has no ego. This is a subtle competition to rise in the hierarchy among his fellow students and to win the admiration of his so-called guru. This is a common manipulation in many so-called spiritual ashrams. Real gurus never buy into these submissive pretenses and games.